Hey guys, I hope you're doing alright. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about making music with restraints, which is one of the things I mainly do with music. And by restraints, what I mean is limiting yourself to having a very, very small playing field to work with. And I tend to kind of do this through using complicated note structures. Now here's a track which I've been working on for a demonstration for somebody, and as you can probably tell, I've got some basic drum loops here. So this is our drums, just very, very simple, and we've got like the kicks, the snares, that sort of thing, fairly simple. And I sort of change it up a little bit with these other drums that I've got coming in. So what they do is they've got this sort of panning effect that goes between the ears when you're listening to it, you've got like this panning thing going on. I'll give you a better example without that one. So once you got to this one here, so we go here, so you can hear that's a little bit more dynamic because it's sort of going backwards and forwards a little bit, so we're getting a little bit of interaction with the track, which is really, really neat. But that's fairly simple. Now the other thing which I generally start with, because I don't start with the drums, I start with the bass line. So I start with this. So we've got a very, very simple sort of bass line, still sort of plodding, just very sort of dark, deep, that sort of thing. Nothing really impressive. And then we go low. So that's not too bad. And I use this to sort of basically craft the start of the track, if that makes sense. So for example, other bits are built off of this. So for example, this bit. Now this kind of ties people into basically following the same sort of note structures. So whenever I've got a note that's being played, other notes have to be played around it that kind of work with that note. So every single time I do this, I kind of limit myself, which is kind of how I work. So what I do is I tend to start with something really simple, then I move on to my complicated track, which is the second one which I add. So this is the complicated one. And the thing is, I have to work every single bit of music around this complication, which is kind of really, really annoying, but it kind of boxes me in a lot, and I kind of like working like that because it allows me to come up with some of the best combinations of sound, which I can use for specific bits. So for example, this one will go with this. So we've got this sort of nice sort of flow coming in, and I added this track third. So I started with the track number 1, then I moved all the way down to this one, then I moved to that one as well. So what we've got now is we've got a piece which works quite well together. And then we've got the drums which are added in. So what I've done here really is I've utterly penned myself in, so there's very few notes that I can actually choose that will sound good, and they've all got to work with this one. But that I think is very, very helpful. Now halfway through this track here, once we've got into the upswing here, so we're going to go all the way through to here. This is where the track sort of changes itself round. So we've got everything coming in, and we've got a slightly different track here. Because the thing is, the track has to flow and it has to be dynamic and it has to build through everything, but it also has to keep working with the ultimate sound which I'm going for. So I decided to add some red alert sounds in because this is a spacey one. So we've got this. We've got this thing going on in the background. Now this one still works with the track in terms of everything, it's just very, very easy portamento, but I need to make sure that that works with every single stage of everything that's going on here. So these two notes are really, really good because they keep everything controlled. So we've all got this constant level of control which is coming through the track. And then I add the final little bit, which is this one here, which is basically my controller, which just goes over everything. So this is kind of like the final bit, and it's got to work with every single one of the tracks that's going on. So the notes pretty much just write themselves. So we're going and following the same sort of patterns, and then we just have that bit different to be dynamic going down, and it can copy the same thing as well. Then high, low, high, 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 and then we've got to go all the way down again. Now Mozart did this, so I kind of steal from him. No, I don't steal from Mozart, but it's the same sort of style going forwards and back. I mean, I'm not 100% happy. I think there could be better placement, but because of all of the restrictions that are placed in, it makes it very hard to sort of come out of this. But as you can see, everything just sort of builds into the same piece, so it kind of works pretty well, I think. But that's kind of how I write music. I basically start with a really simple bass line, which is your start part. Where are we? Let's go back. So we just start with a simple bass line, and then we go into the complicated, and then we add this other bit. It's like punctuation. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And then these ones are being added to sort of control then. And then the track kind of just writes itself, because the thing is, there's nowhere for me to go apart from to hit the best notes which sound best with everything that goes on. But yeah, most of my music doesn't sound great. I know that. I'm not a great composer. I can barely play the keyboard, but it's amazing what you can do with computers. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. Have a lovely day, and thank you for coming along to check this one out. I really appreciate you spending the time coming here, and you have a lovely day.